strap yourself in. It's going to get messy. It's really not.
Bumpy would have been better. Strap
Bumpy.
yourself in. It's going to get bumpy.
Is it going to get messy? Only if Toll spilled his coffee.
4 men in a wormhole! Welcome to 4 Men in a Wormhole. I'm Stephen Gurvitz, your ever-boarding host, and joining me as ever is Tal Silverman.
Hello.
Hello, Tal. Welcome. I love your Christmassy jumper, your holiday season jumper. Joining us also is Adam Leach, who looks like the man who brought milk tray.
Hi, yes. I've just been delivering some milk tray. I was going to also wear a holiday season jumper, but couldn't be bothered to change.
Good enough for me.
This is the only outing it's going to get this year is socially, so you have to be virtually, I'm afraid.
I'm sure our French audience really appreciate it. And joining us as ever is Simon Cohen, who I love your background, your very festive yet sci-fi background. Welcome.
Thank you very much. I'm very excited about today's episode.
Yes, aren't we all? And this is our, depending on your tradition, our Christmas special, our post-Hanukkah special, our holiday season special, or as some people just call it, our special.
Just another one.
Or just another, or the one that came after the one before.
They're doing this again, really.
Or the one before the next one. So there's many combinations depending on what you want to call it. So as always, we're going to dive into the first subject, which is nothing special, but it's always the most up to date. What bits of sci-fi, science fiction, whatever it may be, culture that has caught our attention since the previous episode. Simon, you're first on. I believe you want to talk about something sharp and pointy.
Well, I'm talking about homework basically because there's various movies that I needed to watch by a certain point, and yes, the first one, the sharp one, was Blade, because I think Blade is coming into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. In fact, if you've seen, I think the Eternals, no, not the Eternals, Shang-Chi, I think there might be a reference to the Shang-Chi. So I thought I'd catch up on those movies, and then The Matrix is coming up. Although by the time you listen to this, it might already be out. So I thought I'd better do my homework on that and catch up on the Matrix movies. And then, of course, Spider-Man, which hopefully by now everyone has watched by the time you listen to this. But only two of us have watched it. We're not going to be talking about Spider-Man today. But I did do some Spider-Man catch-up as well, watching the original Spider-Man movies. So it's just been a busy few weeks of catching up on old movies.
You're taking it seriously. Like a new movie comes out, you put the hours in. Before you just don't go.
Absolutely. Do you not? I mean, also I do it for this podcast as well. I do it because I know that you guys, you want to know that I'm taking this seriously, Adam, and not just turning up in a jumper after you've been delivering chocolates.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I get a tattoo done on my butt cheeks for every new sci-fi show I've seen, and that's how seriously I take it. And I want to see if you guys are willing to step up to that.
I'm not going to step up
to your butt cheeks.
My butt cheeks are definitely worth stepping up to. So, I love the Blade movies. Simon, did you enjoy the Blade movies?
I did. I really did. Yeah, they're. I didn't really know what to expect. I'd never seen them before. This wasn't sort of watching things that I'd watched years ago, as it was in the case of Spider-Man and The Matrix. I hadn't seen the Blade movies. I thought they were very good. It is sci-fi. Before anyone asks, there is an explanation of why there's lots of zombies running around. It's a scientific explanation, and I thought he was great. I think the special effects are good. I recommend those movies. I think they're very, very good.
And Cat from Red Dwarf is in it, which
I know
makes it really hard to watch.
I couldn't take that seriously. I just kept waiting for him to go and start doing the moonwalk or something.
I love anything with that. I wish I could remember the actor's name because he's also in that murder program.
The one in the Pacific, in the
Caribbean,
in the West Indies.
Yeah. What is that? Murder in Paradise. Murder in Paradise.
Something like that.
Death in Paradise. Death in Paradise. He's also in Death in Paradise, and he's brilliant. I watch it just for him, and I just want him to just do some crazy cat moves.
It's unfortunate for the guy because he actually is a really good actor. He's a good. I think he was on Strictly. He's a good dancer too. He's a good entertainer. but the Red Dwarf role is, at least for British, see, non-British people probably wouldn't have a clue. So for the Blade audience in the USA, he was just a baddie, right? But if you're a British person watching it, you're going, it's hard to get Red Dwarf out your head. And I'm glad you enjoyed Blade. And
just while we're on Red Dwarf, actually, sorry to go off on a major tangent, but if anyone, I don't know if you're watching, I know we're going to might talk about Star Trek Discovery a little bit later, but there's a scene in Star Trek Discovery, I think we're on season 4 episode, I can't remember which episode it was, but there's a scene where basically you're looking at the bridge of a ship, and on the ship is a man that is the last of his kind, a cat, and a hologram. And I was just does anyone? I'm like, somebody else must be noticing this. Is it just me? I'm sure it had nothing to do with Red Dwarf, but I was just looking at that and going, wow, that's brilliant.
I would love there to be a Red Dwarf Easter egg in
I mean, maybe it was, maybe it wasn't, but I did find that, I think, to be honest, I think I was probably the only person in the world that thought Red Dwarf at that moment in time. But yeah, shall I talk about The Matrix or Spider-Man? Because I did enjoy it.
Yeah, talk about The Matrix.
Well, I'm catching up. Hopefully, we're going to go and see it soon. But it's been great watching. I've watched 1 and 2 so far. I'll watch 2 again. It's been great watching them. They're brilliant movies. I'd forgotten how good they were. The Matrix one is a great story. It's great sci-fi. The special effects are fantastic. It's edgy of seat stuff. And I don't know if there's anyone listening that's thinking that maybe hasn't seen The Matrix because it's 20 years old and they've seen that there's some new movie coming out of the cinema. You know, go and watch it. Go and watch those old movies. I say old movies, it's 20 years ago nearly. They're brilliant. Adam, you look like you want to say something.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think The Matrix is like one of my favourite movies of all time. And I know people then sort of go, yeah, but 2 and 3 were a bit rubbishy. But the metaphors of all of them are just basically computer science metaphors across the whole thing, and computer programming metaphors with a bit of philosophy. So I'm like, I'm all over that. It's just brilliant. I love it. And I sat down with Louis, and I must have said this on the podcast, my youngest son, and we watched The Matrix and all of the other ones, and he loved it as well. And I think it really keeps up to kind of modern standards of action movies. All the action sequences are brilliant.
So I'm trying to work this out because I thought some of them are 15s, so I'm debating whether to actually watch them with Izzy, because
they are 15s, and there's the first one in The Matrix. There's a few bits that are a bit kind of, I'd say, kind of scary, like he loses his mouth, like he's sort of an interrogation.
Right, yeah.
And it's a bit sort of creepy or horror like.
I think it's mainly a 15 for use of guns and violence. There's no, I can't remember there being any swearing.
There is some sex in the second movie.
Is that second movie number 3? I thought there's a bit of that when they're in Zion and.
Oh yes, there's a bit of body movement in. Yes, you're right. There was a bit of body movement going on, and there was some cleavage.
Yeah, I thought it was. I mean, yeah, I could watch it all day long. The Matrix.
Yeah, I'm
really excited about the next one coming up.
Yeah. So thank you, Simon. I'm just gonna keep the tempo moving. Tal, you've been uploading.
I have. I've been doing 2. I watched 2 sort of series, pretty much I say in their entirety. Upload. I think you mentioned it a few episodes back, Stephen, that you'd watched it, and there's only 1 season so far, but they are actually they are filming a season 2. In fact, they started filming a season 2 in January, so it's nearly a year, but they still don't have a release date for season 2. So I'm assuming it's going to come sooner rather than later. But it's it's basically the premise of the series is that essentially, I think you mentioned it, it's very similar to, there's another thing I think with Ted Danson did a similar series, but basically it's to do with when you die, you can essentially be uploaded into the metaverse, the multiverse, whatever you want to call it, and essentially based on how much money you have determines sort of how much credit you have in this new multiverse, and how kind of well you can live and in what sort of luxury you can live in. It's
Facebook's business plan, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. And But it's really well done. It's kind of a sort of rom-com type thing. It's a feel-good series. It's very nicely done. There's some really nice, clever. There's a bit of a mystery idea to it as well, because he basically, the guy who dies, the main character, is a software developer, and essentially it looked like he was about to release a kind of free version of the metaverse, and essentially there's this conspiracy theory, or the theory that he was essentially murdered by the people whose metaverse he now lives in. He now lives in the kind of metaverse, the posh metaverse, because his girlfriend essentially is rich, and she essentially pays for him to live in this kind of metaverse. But it's really well done, and there's kind of some very nice, very funny moments. It's definitely worth a watch, and I'm looking forward to season 2. It's definitely going to be a good one.
Good. And you also tell us about Future Man.
Yeah, Future Man, very different. There's 3 seasons of Future Man, and I'm about halfway through season 3. It's produced by Seth Rogen, and it's very, very funny. And I'm trying to sort of say what it's like, and I'd say it's basically kind of Back to the Future meets Terminator meets Deadpool meets Last Starfighter meets basically any sort of time machine type story you can ever imagine, but with the comedy kind of aspirations of Deadpool. It's very silly. It's got Josh Hutcherson, who's the sort of main character, who actually plays a character called Josh, who was Peter in the Hunger Games, and Eliza Coupe, who's the female protagonist on your left, right, and Derek, can't remember his surname, Wilson, I think. So yeah, but it's very well done. It's hilarious. It's very silly. It's adult humor. It's definitely not for kids. Yeah, basically he completes a computer game, and then at that moment in time, as soon as he completes all the levels of the game, these 2 characters turn up, and they are essentially their characters in his game. And it turns out the game was a training exercise from the future to basically find the Future Man that can essentially save the human race.
Oh, that sounds like the what's the Orson Scott Card? I don't know.
Yeah, it sounds like all of them, but do you know what? It works. It's definitely worth it. And I'm going to be an absolute hypocrite here, because
you were like, no, this does. Yeah, well, no, it was Armada. You didn't like Armada.
And I've also criticised Ready Player One. You know, not so much Ready Player One, because I think they did it really well in that. But Armada, I criticised for it. There's this fundamental difference, because this is absolute parody. Like at one point, this character on that side, I'm flipped. Yeah. That side, he basically befriends Arnie in the 1980s, and essentially, I think, gives him the concept of the running man. Like he infiltrates Hollywood, and it's like, you know, it's just like the whole.
You're being completely contradictory now, because that was what was great about Armada, was that it built on this premise that there was a reason why there was all of these.
Yeah, but I thought Armada was trying to be too genuine, too serious. This is not in any way serious or genuine. It's the most ridiculous thing. There's so many Back to the Future references. He basically nearly has sex with his mum. It's like, you know, but then to the point, and it's like, it's just hilarious. Just like, it's definitely, it's very silly. You have to get past the silliness, because you sort of think this is just too silly, whatever.
I think humor, if something's trying to be funny and it is funny, then I think.
Oh, it is funny. And each series is quite different. The second series is basically Running Man, because the third series is basically Running Man, because they're basically brought to the future, and they're essentially being and it's very much like Loki as well. That was the other one. It's very similar to Loki in that they go back in time, and they basically get hunted by time wardens, or whatever they're called, looking for them, because they've essentially screwed up all the different timelines, because they kept going backwards and forwards in time and kept messing up. So
that's really interesting, because obviously that was before Loki was around. So
yeah,
that's really interesting.
It's really, and it is basically Loki.
Where can I watch that? This is called Future.
It's on. I'm pretty sure it's Amazon Prime. It's Amazon Prime.
Oh,
and unfortunately, I've just found out that I think it's Hulu who basically produce it or make it. They've just binned the 4th series. It's been cancelled, which is a real shame, which means it's annoying, because I haven't got into series 3 yet, but I've just read that, and I basically found means that series 3 will probably end on a cliffhanger, and then there won't be any resolution, which is what I hate about when they cancel shows. But it is, I would say, it's definitely worth it. All three series are very different. Seth Rogen actually stars in the third series. He's quite a major character. He's basically their kind of the guy who runs the Running Man show, and is kind of their kind of the guy who then hunts them through time. And his name is Susan, which is quite just silly in itself.
Killian wasn't the guy who was that the game show host in the Running Man was called Killian?
I think so. That name rings a bell. Just to point something out, we need to do some analysis at some point, because there may be a trend that when we start watching something and then discussing it on the show, they cancel it. In a few shows like that. So maybe across next year we should do an analysis.
If only we had. So if those guys like it, just get rid of it.
Get rid of it. That's all we're going to do. Well, thank you very much, Tal.
Yeah, definitely worth watching Future Man. I recommend it. It's just a very silly romp through time. It's very.
Thank you, Tal. So, Adam, you want to talk about Finch and also something from the Expanse series, which is timely as the new series of the Expanse is on.
Series 6 has dropped, but I don't want to talk about. I'm actually going to talk about the book. You can't see it here. Well, you can't see it because we're on a podcast, but I'm waving the book around. There we go. On for those of you on YouTube, that's what I was going to talk about. Leviathan Wakes, which. So because I think last year or this year, Leviathan Falls, I think it's the last book in the Expanse series of books, and they did the last one. I don't know what the correlation between is series 6 and the last book, but there's been 10 years of books, and I thought Toll had recommended the book, so I thought I'd go back and I thought I'd read it, and I absolutely love it. I think it's really original. This is the book. That is. I've watched a bit of the TV series as well now, which I think only had like a bit of like season 1. But the books are brilliant. I think they're really well written. Really sci-fi. Tom,
how many books have you read? Because there's.
So I'm now reading book 3.
Okay. So I think I petered out at book. I think I petered out at like book 4, I think, and then the series came out, and I obviously watched the series because I'd read up to book 4 and I really enjoyed them. But I found that the books got a little bit less once they basically opened the gate. It all kind of just became.
Oh, they opened the gate.
Oh, sorry, spoiler.
Spoiler.
No, I mean this is the thing. Once they kind of like then that happened. That kind of like that whole bit up to that point where they'd done the whole kind of proto molecule thing and everything was just brilliantly handled, and the book was really well written. I thought because of that, but I just felt that the book's kind of tailed off a bit for me. So it's but it'll be interesting to see what you think once you get. So I think I definitely really enjoyed the first 3, and I think the 4th one I kind of like maybe. But
definitely been building up.
Stuck with it. I think if you'd stuck with it, you'd find bits of the proto molecule come back into the plot line.
Yeah.
I definitely think I really enjoyed Leviathan Wakes, and then it got me into it, and then book 2 I really enjoyed, and then I'm really enjoying book 3. And it's just the small stuff that I think in it that I like. That, for example, just the way gravity, which is just like as a concept is like part of the physical universe. You don't really think much of it, but in the Expanse series, gravity, it shapes politics. It shapes ship design. It shapes fight scenes. So I just think that's just so clever. The way just like something as I say as simple as gravity, but just like a constant like gravity is then not just the way they handle it. I just think it's brilliant and really clever that there's the stories going on the kind of macro and micro level that I really enjoy. And just think it's great. It's not quite Ian M. Banks and kind of level, but it is but it's pretty good. So I'm a convert now to the Expanse universe.
I'm on season 5. Did you say season 6 is out? Is it out now?
I think it just dropped, and it's the final series. So
no, it's not necessarily the final.
Oh, is it not? I thought they'd said
final series confirmed to be made at this time.
Oh, okay. I thought
Have you seen season 6 yet, Stephen?
I've watched the first episode. Each one drops on a Friday. They're not all up.
They're doing it on that.
I need to watch the second one, I think. It already starts well, and it's cool. So yes, I'll be interested to see how they end it. I assume they will end it as if it was the last one, because they don't know if there's going to be more. But the guys who are behind producing it all are quite open to keeping it going. And let's remember, it's already jumped from Netflix to Amazon.
Did it go from SciFi? So I think it was SciFi channel. Did it go from SciFi to?
Well, it was on Netflix, so it may be made by SciFi, but in terms of international, it was on Netflix. And then it got dropped, and then Bezos said, "I'll pay for it."
Yeah,
but I think I'm still working through season 5. And again, that started slow, but I think it does feel like it's picking up a bit now. I'm about 3 or 4 episodes through.
Yeah, no, it's all good. Adam, the Expanse aside,
yes,
Finch.
Yeah, Finch. You know, we planned to talk about this some time ago, and do you know what? I think I've largely forgotten that movie almost entirely, other than it had Tom Hanks in it, and it had a robot in it, and it was a bit sad. But that's
it's nothing like Chappie.
It's on Apple TV. It's not like Chappie. My wife walked in and said, "This looks like cross between Short Circuit and something else." It does have a very sort of 80s feel about it, which I quite liked.
What's the synopsis? Is it he goes on a journey with a robot or something like this?
Yeah, there's a dog. There's him, and he basically, it's a kind of post-apocalyptic world. The world is dying. Basically, he's one of the last remaining humans. He's dying, and he builds a robot to basically look after his dog when he's dead. And then they go on this journey. Why do they go on the journey? A storm's coming in, and he has to go anyway. So then they drive, and the robot is sort of like a child. It's sort of like so it starts with being like a child, and he kind of fathers it, and it kind of learns, and it's very touching. It's great performance from Tom Hanks, and the robot's really good in it. I like the robot, but it's very forgettable because I almost had forgotten about it.
Is it sad? It sounds very sad.
It is a bit sad. There's a bit, it is like, it is quite emotional, and I won't do spoilers, but yeah, it's quite sad, and it's not. Is it an uplifting ending? It's sort of an uplifting ending. You can, if you're kind of a glass half full kind of person, you can probably go, yeah, I'm sure it's going to all turn out great, but it doesn't necessarily have that feeling. The
asteroid gets closer and closer,
yeah, exactly.
It's all going to turn out just okay.
We're fine. We're going to call Bruce Willis. He's going to be fine.
I'm trying to work out if you're recommending this movie to us or not. I mean, is it worth a watch?
I'm not sure I'm recommending it. I mean, it was okay. It was okay.
So, it's not worth getting Apple TV for then.
It's not worth getting Apple TV for. No, I don't think so. But yeah, there we go. That's Finch. But
thank you very much. Thank you. So my little things just to run over, in terms of things I've been watching, or at least some highlights. One, very quick, because I think I've mentioned this before, but I'm still enjoying rewatching all of Babylon 5. And I'm now into the 3rd season, and I think the captain is John Sheridan, played by the actor who was the original Tron guy. Yeah, really enjoying that. Actually, it's much better than what I thought, and I can't wait to see it redone, because they're redoing it. I can't wait to see it redone with modern production values.
Are they remastering it, or like?
No. I mean, they've really remastered it. No, this is they're redoing it. I mean, there's a new day, and it's not. I don't believe it's a continuation. I think it's a reimagining. So I can't wait for that. Also, more of a discussion. So one of you mentioned Star Trek Discovery earlier. Unless one of you are going to surprise me, I don't believe anyone here has watched Star Trek Discovery.
I'm watching it.
You're watching it on Pluto?
Well, I'm watching it on Pluto and on Amazon Prime.
You're paying for it on Amazon Prime?
Yeah, so basically, I think by the time it came out on Pluto TV, let me tell you, Pluto TV is the channel that it's on is a live channel. It's not like a catch up or an on-demand service. They do have that on their service, but this is not on it.
Yes, well, it's owned by Paramount. Pluto TV is owned by the same people.
Right. Oh, okay. So, but they obviously don't want it as a catch-up or on-demand service until they launch Paramount in the UK and around
we should
the world.
maybe explain to the listeners who don't realise. So, just at the last minute, literally days before, it was announced that Star Trek Discovery would not be on Netflix internationally, which it was expected to be, but it would be on Paramount's own streaming service, which you have to pay for, which bit by bit all Star Trek content will migrate to, which is hence why we started this segment with me saying I'd be surprised if anyone's seen it. So yes, they've been putting it on Pluto, which is live to watch, but if you don't watch it at the time, you're buggered. And then the other way of watching it.
It's even worse than watching TV in the 70s and 80s. At least then you could get the VHS machine out and record it, but you can't record it. There's no way to. Actually, if you had a VHS machine, you could record it. But that's probably the only way. But we don't have those anymore. So you literally have to be in front of the television at. It's at 9 o'clock on a Friday night. They repeat it at 10 o'clock. Sorry, they repeat it at 9 o'clock on a Saturday night and 9 o'clock on a Sunday night. I'm actually missing it now, and I didn't see it on Friday night or Saturday night. So if you don't watch it at that time, that's your only option to watch it for free. But then you can go and buy each episode on Amazon Prime. In the UK, it's £2.50, I think.
That's very quaint. That's very quaint, though, isn't it?
It is. I mean, I literally have to say to the family, I have to explain it to them. I have to explain that I can't record it. I think if you cannot be in the lounge between 9 and 10 o'clock because I will be watching the show. Do not come in because I can't pause it, I can't record it, I can't do anything else. So I have been watching it, and they've been. I think it's been better. I think it's been. I think it's been quite good. There's been a couple of episodes.
But the question I wanted to raise.
Yes.
And actually, it'd be interesting because you are making an effort to watch it, whereas Adam's making none, Charles making none, and I'm making none, despite the fact that I love Star Trek. Is when they do launch Paramount Plus or whatever it's called over here, is anyone inclined to get it to watch Discovery or Picard? Because I assume at some point Picard might leave Amazon and might go on there, because I assume all Star Trek content will be there. Just like
I really want to watch Picard. I'm not that bothered by Discovery. I'm much more interested in watching the next season of Picard, but I still won't buy Paramount for it. I don't think. But
if they let you do a 1 month subscription for like £8, and you waited until Picard was out and finished, and then you could just blitz it all for like £8 or £9.
That's what happened with Disney Plus. It's a slippery slope.
It's a slippery.
You're still paying.
Adam, are you inclined to sign up once they launch it?
Not really. I mean, like maybe if we go into some kind of another lockdown, maybe there'll be no other choices.
And there is more Star Trek coming, isn't there? There's more. There's the Pike, Captain Pike. There's quite a few other.
Yeah, there's what's the
Strange New Worlds.
Strange New Worlds.
That does look good.
And there is some other stuff coming, because and also they obviously are doing way more Star Trek. They are going to pad it out. There is a lot more Star Trek. Simon, you obviously are making an effort to watch Discovery. So are you going to be the first out of us four to pay for the subscription when it comes out?
Well, not if I can find a way to watch it without paying for the subscription. At the moment, if I remember, I can watch each episode at no additional charge. If I'm sitting in front of the television at 9 p.m. on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday evening.
Did you say you could buy individual episodes as well? So can you buy the ones you missed tonight? So you'll be able to buy that, and then you have to buy it really, and then watch it before the next one streams next week. Yeah.
Yes. So it's complicated, but I mean, if they do the same thing for Picard, I'll do it. And maybe by the time. Maybe I won't need to subscribe to it, but then maybe there'll be a load of other stuff on Paramount.
Well, I'm not too sure they are going to do it for Picard, because the only reason they're doing it on Pluto is because they haven't yet launched Paramount Plus in the UK. So it's like it's like their alternative until they've got their game in order. Moving forward, it's only going to be either buy per episode or pay for the service. You're going to pay, right?
Oh, I don't know, Stephen. Ask me that in a few months' time. I'm not sure.
Yeah, this is the thing. It's a very peculiar. Well, I say peculiar. We all understand why they've done it. It's what everyone's doing. But the question is Star Trek Disney? Is Star Trek Marvel? Does it have enough of a cachet to justify this?
The thing for me is, even though I love Star Trek, there's just so much on all the other streaming stuff that is keeping me occupied, that there's always other stuff to watch, you know. And I just feel that, you know, I'm always playing catch up on stuff. You know, we discuss stuff and I go off and then think, oh, I'd like to watch that. And, you know, it's like, so, and I just think there's just so many other things coming up. You know, there's Boba Fett's about to start on Disney Plus. You know, it's like, I just feel like that's just not enough to justify me needing.
I think they're in a bit of a
sacrifice
trouble, aren't
something
they?
else.
If the four of us are quite, you know, quite into Star Trek, I'm not. It doesn't sound like we're that motivated that we'd buy a new service based on it. That must be. It must be a lot of other people that feel the same.
And they're not going to get, and how many new people are they going to get that are sort of maybe watched a bit of Discovery and gone, you know, they're not going to be, that aren't Trekkies, you know, that aren't even, you know, haven't got the history behind it. They'll just be like, well, yeah, it's not on what I've got. You know?
Yeah, I think it's very interesting. So just moving on, lastly, I'm not going to talk about it long, but in anticipating the launch of the Matrix movie, they launched on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S a remarkable tech demo for the new game engine Unreal Engine 5, but they did it in cahoots with the people behind the Matrix. And obviously that's interesting because the very original Matrix movie used a whole load of new effects that we now take for granted, like bullet time and all sorts. But it's the first time people have seen, in effect, next generation gaming. And what's clever is they use the Matrix, and it's very hard to work out which parts of video, which parts.
I saw this very briefly, and I had no idea that it was like. I just saw a couple of shots. It just looked like the movie. Like I really did.
Most of it's rendering in real time, and you cannot work out what is what. Yeah. Not only that, you can't work out who's an actor and what is a fake creation, meta person. And they're flicking all the time between old Keanu and young Keanu, and it's just amazing. And then the city, they recreate the city, and it has real lighting in it, as in there's only one source of light, which is the sun, and in real time everything's being rendered, and it's just amazing. And what was very cool is you're in the world of the Matrix, and not only does it show off the new game engine, but if you throw in some of the stuff like Tal, you were talking about with upload and the idea of the metaverse, clearly it just shows you where we're heading over the next 30 years. I'll say 30 years because it could be 15 years, it could be 25 years, but I think within 30 years we will definitely be in a place where we will be in a world which is not so dissimilar from your Matrix, come Ready Player One, come being able to literally be in proper immersive, very realistic environments. And I think that's, you know, yes, we know there are things to be worried about, but I think ultimately it's super exciting. And I think we had this discussion on our last episode. There still will be films, just as there are still books and there are theatre shows. But I do think we will have, I mean, remember the old point and click adventures people used to play? I think we will have real, you know, who needs escape rooms or treasure? I think we will have a new genre alongside those things, which will be interactive mysteries, puzzles, movies, which we are playing characters in. I think it'll be really interesting.
Well, I'm hoping that we can do like, you know, Ready Player One with the gates, that you can just have a lip sync along to your favorite movie. So as long as
that would be awesome. Well, and what this demo shows is on a £500 console is in real time. They've created a city. The world they create, they said, is the same size as downtown Los Angeles. It has 35,000 simultaneous cars that can all be damaged, 70,000 people. It's on an astronomical scale, and it's all being generated in real time as you're there. And it shows you, obviously this is all about sci-fi, but it shows you the concepts of sci-fi eking into our reality today, and for people like us who love sci-fi, the imagination where that runs to is very exciting. So there we go. That's thought I'd wrap up on that bit of excitement for what bit of sci-fi news you've been dealing with. So now we're going to move on to our next segment, which is a very exciting segment. It's a one-off segment because we can only do it at this time of year, which is Secret Santa, Xmas presents, whatever you want to call it. Of course, if we were Russia, we could do it at another time of year because their Christmas, I think, is the 1st of January. And if we wanted to follow the Ethiopians, we could do it again in March. So when I said you can only do it one time of the year, that was a bit untrue. But we are only going to do it one time of the year, are we not, guys? I like what you're doing there, Adam. It's your Ready Player One goggles.
What it is, though, you have just bought me an Oculus Quest.
Yeah, for those listening, because obviously for those listening, they can't see what Adam is doing. He has taken the present, which has been provided by myself, but wrapped by my wife, Adam, and he's over his eyes like a You can tell. Yeah, I don't do wrapping. So I think the way this works, not that we've done this before, is that I got a present for Adam. Adam got a present for me. Simon got a present for Tal, and Tal got a present for Simon.
We should also, we have done this once before, though. We did this.
Oh, yes, we did it without actual presents.
Yes. And we gave virtual presents in that we found the presents and just showed each other what we would have bought each other. But this time, we've actually gone and purchased the gifts.
We've been shopping, or rather, we've been on Amazon.
Yes.
No one's been.
Now, can I just remind everyone? The majority of people who enjoy our podcast do not watch it.
No.
So as you tell it, you literally have to describe it as you go along.
And do we have to speak French? Because the majority of people who enjoy our podcast are also in France.
Yeah, but they enjoy it, so they must speak English. I can only conclude. Or they just like the tones of our voices and they think this is an ASMR video. One or the other. So Adam, do you want to go first?
I'd love to, yes. Right. So for people listening, it's a box that's very nice, kind of rainbowy, sort of silvery paper on it, wrapped very expertly by Mrs. Gurevitz.
Now I know what the attraction is of all these YouTube unboxing videos.
I thought
it was crazy, but look, clearly it's
okay. So I'm looking here. Actually, this I don't know what it is, but the first thing I've come across is a strip of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 AAA batteries. Now, usually you get stuff and batteries are not included, but batteries are.
That's very thoughtful.
Well, they're only included because I included them.
That's a good Christmas film.
Yeah.
It's a good Christmas film, that, isn't it? Batteries not included.
Yeah, it's a great movie. It's like a sci-fi classic.
Wouldn't it be funny now if the main present wasn't anything that required batteries?
It just had batteries included.
No pad and pencil.
This is awesome. So I said it was a box. It is a blue box, in fact, a very famous blue box, which is a police box.
Show us.
I'm going to open it up here. I'm just.
It's a TARDIS.
It's a TARDIS, but it's a TARDIS alarm clock.
Nice.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
That is really
good. It'll wake you up 200 years too early, wouldn't it?
A day late. Oh, unfortunately, it just needs a little screwdriver, which I don't have on my desk to put in the batteries. But that is awesome.
I wasn't going to provide everything.
Where's the screwdriver, Stephen?
Screwdriver not included. So hold on, it's got a little thing. Does it project?
I think it may project.
Or it projects a little TARDIS and the time and makes a sound.
Kate's going to love this.
She is.
This is brilliant. Thank you very much, Stephen. Yeah,
I'm good. Like that.
Yeah,
that is very nice. Very nice. Should I go next?
Yes, why not? Yes.
Okay. I have a bigger box, and it says Stephen on it.
And also, it was wrapped by me.
Which I can tell.
Which you can. There's a lot of sellotape.
There's more than one attempt at certain angles.
Yeah. Oh, it kind of got a bit ripped. Yeah, I was put too much.
This is some piece of sellotape I'm now taking off, and another piece of sellotape. Ooh.
This combines two things you really enjoy into one.
It's science fiction biscuits.
Science fiction biscuits, not quite.
Oh, Shepperton Design Studios. It's got a picture. Oh, I see what it is. Because not only do I see what it is, it actually says what it is. Yeah. That's a big help. So it's a box that says decanter. It's a stormtrooper helmet decanter. Let's see if I can.
Oh,
get
that's
it out.
very cool as well.
That is very cool. So if I get it out,
Yeah.
maybe the green screen thing behind me won't interfere with it as much, and it might be a bit clearer, especially as it's see-through. Yes.
There we go. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
Very
That's
good.
good, isn't it?
Isn't that good? So if I put my hands either side of it, it thinks it's part of my body. And there we go. Thank you very much, Adam. That is very, very cool. That is
For a man who loves whiskey and loves stormtroopers, I thought that was the perfect gift.
Well, I was close when I said about whiskey. Who would have thought? So there you go. That is very, very cool. Thank you very much, Mr. Leach.
Oh, good presents.
I think so. So you the
Slightly worried now because I might not have been quite so serious with my presents. There you go.
I'm glad Adam got. I'm just glad I got Adam, and Adam must be glad he got me.
Yeah, I knew it would work out, Stephen. I knew it would work out.
So the present I've got is from Toll. Thank you very much in advance. Firstly, brilliant Star Wars wrapping paper. Can we see that? Okay, hang on. There we go. Star Wars wrapping paper. You can see that. And also, that's all right.
Did you wrap it? Oh, did you wrap it?
No, my wife wrapped it.
Oh God!
Did all the wives wrap all the wrap?
No.
I know your wife wrapped mine because I was there when she did it, Simon.
Yeah, I wasn't around. Sorry. Right, Tyler, I've got to ask you: are there two presents here?
There are two presents. Yes, one isn't a gift tag, and one shouldn't be missed because it is actually.
So which one should I do first? The big one or the small one?
Open the little one, I think.
Okay, so the little one is about the size of a
chocolate penis.
Show you that, like it's like a credit card sized, or I don't know, what is it, a bookmark or something? Let's have a look. I feel like I've got to be careful not to break it.
Hopefully, it'll be obvious what it is. It might not be to everyone else.
I am excited about it. Brilliant wrapping paper. Okay, dark side, light side, vinyl decal. What is it? It's a sticker
on your light switch.
Love it. Dark side, light side. Can we see that? I think. Can I just show that on the?
Put your hands either side. Put both hands on it like this. No, one above, one below.
There you go.
Yeah, like that. There you go.
There we go. So I don't know if you can see that. Okay, so dark side, light side. It's to go on the light switch. For those of watching on YouTube, but effectively, I will have a Star Wars. I will have Star Wars stickers of Darth Vader and Yoda on my light switch. It says dark side and light side. That's very cool. I've never seen anything like that before. I'm very happy about that. Thank you. And now for the large present, which is it's sort of moving. It's like when your parents buy you presents and you go, oh, it's clothes. You bought pajamas, haven't you? Is that what it is? You bought me pajamas.
It might be clothes.
Oh, hang on. Oh,
boxer short.
Hang on. What we've got? Just looking up in here. That it is clothes. And it is a
pants. Is it a pair of pants?
It is a like Christmassy Picard T-shirt that says "Make it snow."
Hey.
Fantastic! I don't know if you can see that. Again, we can just.
It is weird.
See him.
No, it's we can just see Picard around.
There we go. Make it snow.
That is weird.
Love
there
it.
we go.
Love
So
it.
now it's
Thank you very much. And now
right.
I'm really nervous about the last present, which is the one I bought you, Todd, because all of the other presents have been really good. And now I'm thinking,
This is good.
I'm not disappointed.
They say last but not least, but an invitation might be last and least.
Descriptor. It's I don't think it's clothes. Doesn't bend like clothes. It's box shaped. So I'm assuming it's something in a box. Oh, hello. Also looks Doctor Who related.
Oh,
brilliant! It's a Doctor Who Mr. Men.
Yeah. Is that stories or is it actual models of them?
It is the stories. It's like basically like Mr. Men books.
Yeah.
But with Doctor Who.
I think
with each of the 13 Doctors, I think there's a Mr. Men story about each of the Doctors.
Brilliant.
That is awesome.
That is awesome. I love that. That's very good. It's so well drawn as well. It's got all the. It's got brilliant. It's got all sorts of characters in it as well.
And in the book, there's still more than two people on a page at a time.
Yeah, exactly. You can't really see it. There you go. Just about.
That is great.
Very good. That is very cool. I love
Doctor
that.
Who, Doctor Who 2, Star Wars
Brilliant.
2, Star Trek 1. That's the scores.
That's the score. I will say, I think
Mr. Men won. Yeah.
I will say, I think we have really helped our audience. We've really helped our audience find some ideas for their loved ones. Clearly, there's some really cool ideas here. And I hope our audience appreciates the time that we've put in to find these awesome presents. Yes, we'll just show them on the screen. People just listening now, this means nothing to you, but we're just
there we go. I see it all now.
On the screen simultaneously. We're simultaneous showing.
But it's only, there we go. There's mine.
Very good. Thanks, everyone.
Very good, everyone.
Thank you very much, Tom.
My TARDIS dematerializes that much.
Yeah, oh, look at that. Woo, woo, woo. Moving on. Now that we have celebrated the Christmas, we're going to look ahead at 2022. And you're allowed to name one sci-fi event, thing that you're looking forward to, and quickly say why. Simon,
I was supposed to prepare for that. I forgot about that.
Yeah, you were meant to. If you go on to our Just Do Planning, there's a whole list of things that I've put next to my name, and you could nick one if you want. So, Simon Cohen, what's your one thing that you wish to call out as something you're very
for next year, for 2022? Well,
I
know I normally go on about Star Wars, Star Trek, and Marvel, but I think I'm going to say Star Wars, because there's we've already talked about some of it, but there's lots of good Star Wars stuff coming up. Boba Fett starts soon, like in December, but that'll be one episode a week, so that'll be into January. And then hopefully there's another season of The Mandalorian. They haven't said exactly when that's going to be, but I think it'll be next year. And of course, there's the Obi-Wan series as well. There's lots and lots of Star Wars stuff coming out. I think there's some other movies in the planning, but I'm not sure throughout next year.
There's a movie called Rogue Squadron coming out on Christmas Day next year.
Oh, really? Is that the prequel to Rogue One, I think?
Well, hold on. Is that next year or 2023? I don't know.
But definitely we're going to get Obi-Wan and Boba Fett and probably The Mandalorian next year. And, we know that, if The Mandalorian Season 1 and Season 2 is anything to go by, I think those will be really, really good shows. So I'm very excited about that. And I do subscribe to Disney Plus, and they'll be on there, so I don't have to do another subscription for it.
Excellent. Adam Leach, what's your big takeaway? And are you allowed to have duplication?
I'm really excited, obviously, about Matrix Resurrections, but that's obviously this year.
That's this year.
But that is an event. I think if I look across all the Marvel stuff, it's Thor: Love and Thunder. I'm really looking forward to another Thor movie and seeing where, at the end of, I think it was Endgame, we saw him getting on the ship with the Guardians of the Galaxies. So I think the idea of Thor being with the Guardians of the Galaxies is brilliant. If they do the same sort of thing as they did in I forgot the last Thor movie. I'm looking at Simon to jog my memory.
It was Ragnarok. Yeah,
so if they do it in the kind of style of Ragnarok with the humor and everything, I think it'll be brilliant. So I'm looking forward to that.
I agree with that.
Yeah, so, well, I'm going to go now to buy Tal a bit more time. Firstly, I'm just going to echo both what you said. The Obi-Wan Kenobi thing is most exciting for me in terms of the Star Wars world. Thor, I just, like you just said, Adam, the last movie was hilarious. I thought that was really, really good. I am actually very excited also about Strange New Worlds, even though goes back to our previous debate.
You won't be able to
watch see it. Yeah, well, I'm very excited about it. Probably won't see it. And the Doctor Strange movie obviously could be huge.
Yeah, that'd be good.
You just named all the things I was going to name.
I'm sorry, but no, if you were to pin me down, it would be Obi-Wan Kenobi though. I'm really excited to see how they do that. So that's my thing. So tell what's your most anticipated thing?
Well, I guess you've named a lot of them. I think the Doctor Strange movie I'm looking forward to. That'll definitely be up there. I'm actually really enjoying, and again, I know it's this year, but we haven't really mentioned it. We haven't really talked about it, but really enjoying Hawkeye now.
I'm going to. I've only watched one episode.
Yeah, no, it's really good.
I haven't seen any of it.
I've just started. I think we should do a proper review of Marvel.
Yeah, defo, for sure.
In the beginning of January.
Defo, because it's I watched the trailer and I thought this is going to be really pedestrian and I'm not going to enjoy it at all. And I actually am really liking it, and I love the characterization of it. And he's a great character, he really is. And I just, I think it's just nice for us to find out more about him. So I guess that could kind of be 2022 because I think it's still going to run. I don't actually know. I think it'll probably finish before.
I think it finishes before Christmas. I think there's only one episode left.
And also, Stephen, I want to pick you up. And when you say we should do a proper review of it, I think,
we can talk about it.
I think we can talk about it. We can watch it and talk about it. Yeah.
That's generally. So it's like someone doing priming themselves to do the 100 meters hurdles and then just collapsing at the first area because you actually have just managed to pick a series that will end before the
exactly.
Have another go.
I'm interested, Steve, which also starts in 2021, but will continue into 2022.
I'm interested in your list, Stephen. You've got I'm looking at it in just now, but in your list you had Avatar 2. Are you genuinely looking forward to Avatar 2?
I'm genuinely intrigued.
Does anyone really care about any of the Avatar? I mean, James Cameron is a brilliant director, but does anyone really care about the sequels?
Well, I'm intrigued because it's actually interesting how much time has gone past. Because if you remember when the original Avatar launched, it was all about 3D. Everything was about 3D, and he invested a lot of money in everything was 3D. Now 3D is not a thing. You can't get 3D TVs. All the cinemas have gone IMAX, and it'll be really interesting to see if beyond the gimmick of 3D. Is there any substance to Avatar? I'm going to go back and watch the original. I've got it on Blu-ray.
See, I've never seen the original, and Poppy's seen it recently, bizarrely, and she said she really enjoyed it. So I'm now thinking maybe I should watch it.
I think it was a good film. I just think it got missed in terms of people watched it, but they weren't even focusing on the film. They were focusing on the 3D because it was all the gimmick. So it'd be interesting to revisit the original Avatar, which I think Avatar 2 will force us to do. And so yes, it was on my list, but I didn't say it. And that was
I'm just filling in for Toll, who didn't manage to say anything about 2022.
Well, I could have mentioned the fact that I hadn't seen Avatar. That would have been an interesting talk about.
On that bombshell, we're just going to move on to our last segment, which is a celebration of a year of 4 Men in a Wormhole. What a celebration, a whole year, we think. I think what I'll do is I'm just going to call out some stats for our listeners.
I think call out some stats. That's how you celebrate in style. Like when you're celebrating, revert to the statistics.
I think it's all about the stats. It's all about the stats.
Give us some stats.
I think we should be asking everyone who's listening to tell at least one other person about the podcast.
Like and subscribe. That's what we should be saying, shouldn't we?
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. Hold on a minute. I'm going to try and get you. That's today.
So can I fill in? So I mean, we've had I think 3,000, just shy of 3,000 downloads over the last year. Is that right, Stephen?
Well, I'm about to tell you. We've had 2,917 total downloads. Through Podomatic, that is, since the 1st of January, and some of the one with David Green has had 483, and the one with the one where we discussed WandaVision, that's almost 700, just shy of 700.
Wow.
Nice that many of those actually downloaded more than one.
Yeah, and actually, there is one with over 700. No, not over 700. There is one with 700 downloads exactly. Which one's that one?
Is it the one with Marina?
It's the one with the special guest. Yeah. And then if we look at geography, we've had 366 downloads from the UK. Yay! We've had 208 from the USA. We've had 2,223 from France.
Wow, so it's just
14
phenomenal.
from Germany. 14 from Germany. We're big in Brazil with 3 downloads.
They love us. They love us.
They do. Russia, Putin, I think, is one of our listeners. And then there's 3 more. So there's 4 there. Had 6 downloads in India, 1 in Indonesia, 1 in the Philippines.
This is less impressive now.
So we've had Japan
in France. So a majority of our downloads of that 2,900 whatever have been in France.
Have been France, 2,223 downloads in France. There might just be one person in France
very much.
constantly clicking
That is brilliant.
download.
Well, we should say thank you to everyone that has listened to us.
Yeah.
For the last year.
Merci beaucoup.
Yeah, merci beaucoup.
There we say that Monch too. Yes.
I don't know if you noticed as well, the latest episodes had quite a lot of views on YouTube.
Ooh.
I'm pretty like 150 views. I think.
We don't really get. Usually, YouTube's not really.
I know, but Charlie looked at it today, and
it's going to blow up.
Was it Charlie looked at it, or someone looked at it today, and there were like 158 views of our latest episode.
In the year, are there any highlights you want to call out? I'm going to call out mine straight away, only because I thought it was a lot of fun and it was the most recent episode, but I really enjoyed the singing. That was and seeing Adam look uncomfortable during it. That was the highlight for me. Tal, do you have any highlight?
Well, it's always nice when we get a guest on the show. That always goes down well, I think. Yeah. So
any particular guest? Any particular guest, or just guests in general?
Both of them, all two of the special guests we've had.
I think we're due another special guest. Simon, do you have any memorable moments?
I was also going to say the guests, yes to the guests, but not the quizzes, because I seem to do really badly when they come and ask their questions. I don't know why, but I think it's Adam's fault because he's just too fast to the buzzer. No, but what I will say is I love talking with you guys. Like, it's great fun, and I hope that comes across to our audience. We do have fun, talk to each other and recording this stuff. It's lots of fun. So thank you.
Excellent. And Adam, your highlight is probably winning the quiz. But that aside, do you have any other highlights from all the many episodes we've put
I have enjoyed the quizzes, I think that has been my highlight, really. The quizzes, I think they've been good.
I think so far on because we haven't finished season 2, we've got a few more to go. But I think so far you've been a lot more positive.
Well, I did set out in season 2 to be more positive, and I'm glad that's come across. So,
but you're not. I mean, for season 3, that you don't have to be held hostage. Your positivity, you are allowed to go back to being negative.
To be grumpy, or I have to pick some other state, euphoric or something else.
Euphoric or just apprehensive. You could just be full of anxiety.
That's what to be honest, that's what I'm trying to avoid. Anyway.
Well, there we go. This is an episode with many bombshells. And so on that bombshell, we will come to the end of this pre-holiday season episode of 4 Men in a Wormhole. I'd like to thank everyone who has joined us for the year. We do appreciate the streams and the downloads. It makes it worthwhile knowing someone at least somewhere is listening to at least 30 seconds of what we do. I'd like to thank Adam for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen, and thank you for being our host and organising all of this for the last year. It's been brilliant, and it just would not have happened without you.
It's very kind of you to say so, and true. Simon, I'd like to wish you a happy holiday season and thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Stephen, and happy holidays to you and to all of our audience. Have a great holiday and 2022.
Tal, thank you for joining us, and do you want to wish everyone well for 2023, which is what happens after 2022?
Yes, have a good one, and it should get better, hopefully.
Is that just things? Is that things should get better, or our podcast should get better? I don't know.
Well, maybe both. Hopefully both.
I hope our choice of jumpers will.
What's wrong with this?
You go deliver some chocolates, Adam.
I'm off out now.
On that note, thank you for listening. This is 4 Men in a Wormhole signing off.
4 Men in a Wormhole!